Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about Fire Mage's rotation and some tips on how to play Sunfury since there's been some questions going on. And also nobody has played, well, Fire Mage wasn't a popular spec in Season 1. It has been before, but now we have to catch up on things. So before we start, I just want to mention that I'm not a hardcore Fire Mage player. I've been playing Fire Mage since BFA, Shadowlands also, and Dragonflight. So already, I think 4 expansions. I kind of know the class pretty well. But I do not raid in a cutting edge guild, and I just do Mythic Plus because I enjoy playing Mythic Plus, and that's what I like. So first of all, I don't think Phoenix Flame should be played anymore because our tier set is now buffing all the damage. The tier set of Season 1 and Dragonflight Season 4 was buffing only Phoenix Flame. So you were, of course, going to play Phoenix Flame talents, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. But so instead, I now take Inflame and Execute, so I have more Ignite damage from my Pyroblasts. And Flame Strikes, Execute damage. And instead of these two, I take Firefall and Fevered Incantation. I am playing with Mark of the Firelord here, but I don't like Convection. So yeah, if I would have to play Flame Strike, then this would be my build. I think for now this is what I personally like. But I also really like Intensifying Flame. And I also like playing Flame Accelerants, but sometimes I feel like I don't have, I can't press Fireball. So I think this is a very good bursty, and you can also pre-ramp a Firefall when a pool is ending, and then have it ready for the next pool and also your Combustion, and you do big damage. So with Sunfury, you need to play a lot around the spell's fire spheres so that you know when you're gonna proc a Burden of Power and a Glorious Incandescence. And the moment you proc a Glorious Incandescence, then you recharge Fire Blast charges. So for example, when you have 5 spells fire spheres, your next Pyroblast will proc a Burden of Power, and then when you throw the buffed Pyroblast, your next Pyroblast will proc Meteorites, which will bring you charges. And then also about the Glorious Incandescence, in my opinion, I feel like it's really important to be able to practice in your Combustion window, or if you have insane amount of haste, for example when you proc Lust, or when you're still in Lust, or when you have PI. And whenever you proc it, you also want to be in 1 Fire Blast charge, because otherwise you would be overcapping, yeah? So if you're in 2, or let's say you're in 3, you use a Fire Blast, then you need to spend, like, you would have maybe a Hot Streak, so you send a Pyroblast, and then again a Fire Blast. Like, do not Fireball, nor Scorch, nor Phoenix, because you need to spend the Fire Blast so you don't overcap with the Glorious Incandescence procs. So yeah, you just have to play a lot around that. And I will demonstrate it in this video. Okay, so what I do is I open with 2 Phoenix Flame because I don't need to use this during combustion, since I play with Inflame, and I can do double pyros and spread the ignite of that. And then I will dump all my Fire Blast charges. And since I'm playing with the bracers, I activate the bracers when I have 0 charges, but always after doing a Fire Blast, Pyro, Fire Blast. It's really important in that order because the bracers will return the cooldown of your last 3 spells. So 5 seconds of your last 3 spells. So if you have 2 Fire Blasts in that queue, those are 10 seconds, and then it will give you more CDR. So for me, it gives 2. And then depending on how many I recharge, I will weave Scorches into Fire Blast and double Pyro. And this because I need to manage to get Glorious Incandescence proc without going into 0 charges. Once I finish my combustion, I'll go into hyperthermia, and I keep the I don't know what the talent is called, Feel the Burn talent. I'll keep it up to have mastery buffed, with, of course, the Fire Blast charges. And then once this is done, then I'm going into Shifting Power. But I Shifting Power only if I don't proc Combustion after that. Or if sometimes it's weird because sometimes you like have a Glorious Incandescence proc like right after leaving hyperthermia, and then it's kind of weird if you should Shifting Power or not. I think you should, but if you have combustion proc, for sure you shouldn't, because after that combustion proc, you will go back into combustion. Or there's also the situation where if you proc Lust during combustion, or you have Lust in the opener, then you don't need to Shifting Power. So to break it down step by step, so here I've used 2 charges of Phoenix Flame, then I cast a Fireball, I press Combustion, I activate my weapon and racials, I do a Pyroblast, Fire Blast, dump all my Fire Blast, use bracers, then I'm doing a Scorch, I cast Scorch, Fire Blast with a, I Scorch with a heating up, then I Fire Blast to get a hot streak, and then when the Scorch lands, in that global, I'll smash my Pyroblast button so that I can get double Pyroblast. And then here, as you see, as if you saw, I got a Glorious Incandescence, so I can dump my Pyroblast charges here. And here I have 3 seconds of combustion. This means that I can still do 3 globals, which is Scorch is 1 second, then Fire Blast is another. Well, Fire Blast doesn't count as a global, so it will be Scorch 1 second and then 2 Pyroblasts. And then here we go in hyperthermia. And optimally, I think I should have a Fire Blast charge here so that I don't lose my Feel the Burn stacks. And here I think I press shifting power. I'm not sure. It's kind of late, but it's fine. Then we go back into combustion with a burden of power proc. And you should kind of always aim to have this and going into a new pool in dungeons, because here I have a glorious incandescence right after I have combustion, and then I just spread my ignite, right? Then also here I proc lust, and I have a burden of power. I accidentally parablast. I hardcat. This is not good. What I should have done here, I think, is just cast Scorch and then use a Fire Blast into Pyroblast into Fire Blast, because then I would have Glorious Incandescence. But then here I think I run out of charges and I don't manage to proc Glorious Incandescence, if I'm not mistaken. Oh well, never mind. Okay, and then here, this is where you have like 0 damage. The play here is just Fireball until you get, combustion procs, because for some reason, well, most of the times when you like have no shifting power, you like proc combustion or you proc lust. So like don't worry if like you have no damage. Like damage will come. But I think in this clip it's not the case. But I can assure that it's most of the time like this. So here again I had like 5 spheres and I'm going with Glorious Incandescence. Okay, and let's just go back 1 second. So here, right, I have 5 spheres. And here I have a burden of power. So either you can Scorch, Pyroblast, and then Fireblast, or you can just... Here, I can do Scorch, Fireblast, and double Pyro, because I have 6 seconds. But if this were 3 seconds, then this will be wrong, because I can't manage to do the Fire Blast when my combustion is still on. Like here, my combustion, if it would have been 3 seconds, then the meteorites are still falling and I can't, they wouldn't charge. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, my tip is just check your Spellfire spheres, Glorious Incandescence, and Burden of Power. And yeah, and you'll be fine. Obviously, this is not like a perfect example or like the best rotation of a fire mage or the equivalent to the sim. It's just, how to play around with what you have, because fire mage is a really hard class, and it's something you don't really have like a rotation that is scripted, since there's a lot of factors that change your rotation. For example, if you proc combustion, or if you proc fire blast charge, or if you have above 100% haste, then you should Fire Blast instead of Scorch. Why? Because then when you're scorching with so much haste, you can't do double pyro because you'll just munch on hot streaks. Because it was something like the scorch is gonna land, or yeah, the scorch is gonna land first, then the fire blast, something like this. So yeah, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Test it out, try and learn. Be a student of this class because this class takes a lot of practice, and most importantly, you know, you need to react fast because like every global needs to be pressed. It doesn't matter, well, it matters what it is, but you know, once you commit to like pressing, I don't know, a fireball or you're hard casting a pyroblast, then it's probably best if you just finish up hard casting that instead of canceling it. You know, just putting a bad example, but just yeah, just to say something. So yeah, about trinkets and unused weapons or stats. There's still a lot of testing like to be done, or probably also sims. Stats wise, you know, just wait for sims. But I would say my initial thought, Fire Mage has always liked haste verse. So pretty much just run as much as haste as you can. I feel comfortable with 38, but you can maybe just play 36. And verse, yeah. To be honest, I don't really care much about my other stats, but I think that verse would just give you more single target and some ignite damage, but mastery would give you more ignite damage. So more AoE. You also might have seen me play with this trinket. This trinket was giga broken. Like, it was insane. It was given my verse 10%, from 10% to 30%. So I was getting free 20% increased damage just from one trinket. Now it's nerfed, so if you saw like the damage I did, it's because of that trinket on a floodgate. Also, floodgate is a really good fire mage dungeon. But since this is nerfed, I've been noticing that like my damage isn't much lower. So I have been running this lately, and unused weapon. And I think if you can get yourself a myth track weapon, then it would be better because at least in the current key levels on 12s, you know, you combust almost once per pool, because if you combust again in a pool, you know, you just won't have combustion for the next pool, and you do like 1 million DPS instead of at least 5 million. But maybe, you know, it depends all on the routes. But you know, House of Cards is not bad. Running House of Cards is have it here, or you could also run Signet of the Priory. This one is also not bad, but it's a 2-minute. In fact, I think this one is better than Signet of the Priory. And this one is also not bad. This gives you a lot of critical strike. Destro Warlocks are running this, I think. I've seen a couple of Warlocks run this. And well, as you can see here, I have like this suspicious energy drink, 56% uptime. But the candle, which I was playing here, is 21%, which is not much. So yeah, maybe reverb radio, but I think my haste is pretty good, so I wouldn't want more haste. And Eye of Kazan and paper looks good, but the moment you have downtime, it just goes down between pulls. Like you lose stacks. And if you can't get yourself a mythic neural synapse enhancer, then I would say you play House of Cards and a crafted weapon. So like this, for example. Mostly because House of Cards, you can use it for your third combustion, maybe. Yeah, probably for your third combustion, but not for your second. Well, since you're using for the first. So yeah, but I would say that the intellect that this staff gives, like you lose base intellect, but you do 0 damage outside of combustion. So if you can buff all the damage you possibly can during combustion, then you're doing big damage. So yeah. That's probably it. Yeah, stats. I think I mentioned it, but if not, just run haste and verse. Verse also good for N plus. So yeah, thanks for watching, and if you have any more questions, feel free to comment.